Imagine this. A caravan of mysterious men emerges from the desert, their camels loaded with treasures. Their eyes are fixed on a brilliant star, guiding them across treacherous landscapes. These men, known as the Magi, arrive in Bethlehem, kneel before a newborn child, and present gifts fit for a king. But who were they really? Were there three of them? Were they kings or something else? And what's the significance of their journey? Today, we'll uncover the truth about the Magi as recorded in Matthew chapter 2, separating fact from fiction and revealing their powerful relevance for modern day seekers of truth. Let's dive in. Number 1. The Magi's identity, more than just wise men. You see, the term Magi comes from the Greek word magoi, used in Matthew chapter 2 to describe these travelers. While often translated as wise men, their identity is more complex. Here's some historical context. The Magi were likely members of a priestly caste from Persia or Babylon, experts in astronomy, astrology, and the interpretation of omens. These skills gave them influence in their societies, where they served as royal advisors. Historical sources like Herodotus and Xenophon confirm the Magi's role in the Persian Empire. Herodotus describes the Magi as interpreters of dreams and custodians of sacred rituals. The book of Daniel also mentions Magi in Babylon, where Daniel himself served as chief among them. The Magi were not kings, as often depicted in nativity scenes, but scholars deeply engaged in studying the heavens and seeking divine truth. Number 2. Misconceptions about their number. One of the most enduring myths about the Magi is their number. Tradition holds that there were three, likely due to the mention of three gifts: gold, frankincense, and myrrh. However, the Bible does not specify the number. So, what does the scripture say? Well, in Matthew chapter 2, it simply states, Magi from the east came to Jerusalem. The assumption of three arises from the gifts, but there could have been two or even a larger caravan for safety. The idea of three Magi became popular in later Christian traditions, with names like Melchior, Caspar, and Balthazar assigned to them by the 8th century. These details are not biblical, but part of folklore. So, what's the takeaway? The number of Magi remains unknown, emphasizing the focus on their mission rather than their identities. Part 3. Their journey following the star. The Magi's journey begins with their observation of an extraordinary celestial event. Matthew chapter 2 records them asking, "Where is the one who has been born King of the Jews? We saw his star when it rose and have come to worship him." Here's some astronomical evidence. What is this star? There are several theories that have been proposed. Number 1. Planetary conjunction. Astronomers suggest the conjunction of Jupiter and Saturn in 7 BC, which would have appeared as a bright light in the sky. Number 2. A comet or a nova. Chinese records from 5 BC document a comet or nova visible for 70 days. Number 3. Supernatural event. Some scholars argue the star was a miraculous sign unique to this moment in history. But the Magi's reference to the star aligns with Numbers chapter 24, a prophecy of a star rising out of Jacob, symbolizing the Messiah. So what's the takeaway? The Magi's expertise in astronomy and their recognition of prophetic significance underscore their sincerity as seekers of truth. Number 4. Their origin from the east. In Matthew chapter 2, it identifies the Magi as coming from the east, which most likely points to Persia or Babylon. What are the historical and biblical connections? Well, Persia and Babylon were centers of astronomical and astrological study. The Magi's familiarity with Jewish prophecy may have stemmed from the Jewish exile in Babylon centuries earlier, when figures like Daniel influenced their culture. Daniel chapter 9 includes prophecies about the Messiah's coming, knowledge that may have been preserved by the Magi over generations. So what's the takeaway? The Magi's Eastern origins link them to a rich tradition of seeking divine wisdom and highlights the global reach of God's plan. Part 5. The Gifts. Symbols of a king. When the Magi finally arrive and find Jesus, they present gifts of gold. frankincense, and myrrh. Each gift carries profound symbolic meaning. Gold, a gift for kings, symbolizing Jesus' royal identity. Frankincense, used in temple worship, representing Jesus' divinity and role as high priest. And myrrh, a burial spice, foreshadowing Jesus' death and sacrifice. So what's the historical context? These items were costly and rare, reflecting the Magi's recognition of Jesus' significance. Their gifts fulfilled Old Testament prophecies such as Isaiah chapter 60, which speaks of nations bringing gold and incense to honor God. Part 6. Encounter with Herod, a dangerous mission. Before reaching Jesus, the Magi meet King Herod in Jerusalem, asking, "Where is the one who has been born King of the Jews?" Herod, known for his paranoia, saw this as a threat to his rule. Historical accounts by Josephus confirm Herod's tendency towards violence, including the execution of family members he perceived as rivals. Herod's demand that the Magi report back to him reveals his intent to eliminate the child. The Magi's decision to return home by another route shows their discernment and divine protection. So what's the takeaway? Well, the Magi's journey was not just physically arduous, but politically dangerous, emphasizing their courage and commitment. Part 7. Separating the fact from fiction. Debunking the myths. So, the idea of the Magi as kings stems from later Christian traditions and misinterpretations of texts like Psalm chapter 72, which speaks of kings bringing gifts. While the Magi brought royal gifts, they were likely advisors, not monarchs. Did they arrive in a stable? Well, contrary to nativity scenes, the Magi did not visit Jesus in the manger. Matthew chapter 2 states they found him in a house, indicating their visit occurred later, possibly months or even 2 years after his birth. So what's the takeaway? Clarifying these details enhances our understanding of the Magi story as recorded in Scripture. Part 8. The significance of their worship. In Matthew chapter 2, it describes the Magi bowing down and worshiping Jesus. This act is extraordinary, considering they were Gentiles from a distant land. The theological implications are vast. Their worship signifies the recognition of Jesus as the universal king. It fulfills prophecies like Isaiah chapter 49, where the Messiah is described as the light for the Gentiles. Number 9. The Magi as modern seekers. You see, the Magi's journey mirrors the search for truth that continues today. Their willingness to follow the evidence, endure hardship, and worship Jesus is a model for anyone seeking meaning and purpose. Number 10. Connecting the Magi to God's plan. You see, the story of the Magi encapsulates the heart of the gospel. God's love for his people, Jew and Gentile alike. Their journey to Bethlehem reflects the broader narrative of salvation history, where Christ draws people from every nation to himself. Revelation chapter 9 foreshadows this, describing a great multitude from every tribe and language worshiping the Lamb. The Magi's visit is a glimpse of this ultimate reality. So you see, the Magi story is more than a charming part of the Christmas narrative. It's a profound testimony to the pursuit of truth and the universality of Christ's mission. This Christmas, as we reflect on their journey, let's ask ourselves, are we willing to seek Jesus with the same devotion and courage? I challenge you. If you like this video, the most important thing you can do is share. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and please turn on notifications. And have yourself a Merry Christmas.